Greetings, sports fans. ASMR Sports welcoming you back to some relaxing sports card content. Today, I want to kind of dig into some baseball cards that I've had sitting around here. I'll show you this box. This box says on the front MLB rookie cards, and basically what this is just cards from packs that I've opened in the past. I don't know, probably a year or so, maybe longer than that. And eventually, where these might end up, if I ever get around to doing it, is like, in a dollar box or something like that. It's funny because I have a dollar box that I actually had thought about using for this video, but it's kind of unwieldy. It's very heavy. It's like a full 5,000 count monster box filled with top-loaded baseball cards. So I didn't know if I wanted to kind of haul it out here, but this was a much smaller box that I saw sitting around, and I thought, you know what, let's look through that and see maybe if we can find some decent cards in there. And by decent card, I mean something maybe selling for like $3-4 or more, but probably won't find too many selling for more than that. Generally, any card that's like about $4 or $5, it's like clearly worth more than $3. I'll put in a different box with my quote-unquote good cards, and the cards that are in this box are cards that at the time, were pretty clearly worth, maybe like $1 or less. So, in the baseball season, things can change quickly as players do well. So I wanted to look quickly at kind of, who I might be targeting in looking through this box. And I do that by going to Sports Card Investor. Let me show you the URL here in case you want to check this out. Yeah, there's sportscardinvestor.com if you go to. And then what I do is I just go to Price Guide over here, click that, and then you'll see basically the kind of trending cards, and you can select one sport, which I've done for baseball. So this is the page that you saw when I first loaded up. So it's always interesting to kind of see which players are have cards that are on the move. Oftentimes I'll know why, and oftentimes I will not. Like Joe Caglianone here, I would guess is having a very good season. This is his 2024 Bowman draft, which I opened absolutely zero of, so I know I don't have any of this card, and he may not even have any rookie cards yet if he was in draft in 2024. But anyways, Pete Crow Armstrong, I know I've been seeing a fair bit about him kind of in baseball score reports and stuff like that, and just kind of MLB.com news stories. So I would guess he's having a pretty good year. I probably have a few Pete Crow Armstrong, rookie cards that, maybe are parallels or have a little bit of value beyond base. So we might run into some of those, but it's just base card rookies probably aren't really worth much. Here is Max Fried, base rookie. This is probably his PSA 10 that we're going to be charting here. Yeah, so this is up north of 40, which is pretty impressive considering, I think, a base Soto rookie from 2018 in PSA 10 is probably like a $50 card, if that, right now. So this is a pretty valuable card for a pitcher, and this is doing well because Max Fried was the big signing by the Yankees in the offseason, and he's really done very well for a Yankee team that is, much to my shock, but also delight, doing quite well. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan and you're neurotic like me, you think the shoe is going to drop at any moment. And you know, there were times last year, and actually in a lot of the last like 5-6 seasons, where the Yankees seemed like they were just unbeatable for stretches, and then they just turn a corner and, you know, play like 300 baseball for a good 2 months and just, you know, squander all of the lead they've built. So I never get too optimistic. But anyways, I would suspect most of the cards in this box we're going to look at are going to be much newer than Max Fried. And it's funny because this is from Series 1 2018, which I have opened a frickin' mountain of. But I doubt I would have pulled like this base rookie card just because he's a pitcher, and you know, he was always a pretty good prospect and a good young pitcher for the Braves for many years. But I still probably would not have pulled this guy out, you know, to hold in a box of rookies like this. Usually I'm just only going to pull out position players. But I might actually go look through my like Braves rookies box, because I could very well have like a parallel rookie of him. And actually looking through this list, I could see possibly having some other cards that might be worth pulling out at this point. Like here's Logan Davidson. I don't know what this guy's doing. His PSA 10 base Bowman Chrome first Bowman Auto. It looks like it's now $60. So I'm guessing he's you know, doing well. I don't know if he's playing for the A's. They're a team that kind of wheels and deals a lot of their prospects, so it's entirely possibly somewhere else. Elliot Ramos is a guy that, you know, has been somebody that I've known about for a long time, because, you know, he first appeared in Bowman Products in 2017, as you see here. I'm actually kind of shocked. This feels like a situation where there's just not a lot of sales of this, and just something wacky happened recently to make this $120 PSA 10. But I see like this thing here. They show you kind of some listings. This would appear, okay, this is a PSA 8, so not really very relevant. But I'm guessing that this is definitely not a $120 card. This is just the non-auto, you know, base chrome card, which for a top player can be, you know, a good $100 card, like if it's Acuna or something. But this is not, you know, Acuna. This is Elliot Ramos, who's kind of perennially been among the sort of potential breakouts, but I don't know what he's doing this year. Presumably something, unless this is just a complete and total. Yeah, I keep clicking on the same damn thing. It says PSA 10, but it shows up a PSA 8. Is there any PSA 10s? Yeah, here's a 10 that's sold, well, March 30th, so there's just not a lot of data, it appears. Anyways, I don't know what's going on with this card, but it may or may not be that Elliot Ramos is doing anything. Actually, I want to see, like, yeah, let's look at his other cards. So here's his, like, Bowman Chrome Auto in a PSA 10, and that's like $120. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, if Elliot Ramos is doing any good this year, or this is just completely wacky, but we're not going to be seeing any Elliot Ramos in what I'm looking through. So Brett Beatty is another name that I think I've been seeing kind of in the news a lot. This is a raw purple auto from 2023 Topps Chrome, up to $50, which is pretty low for a numbered auto of a, you know, rookie. But I do think he's having a good year. From what I've seen, Judge, not a surprise. I'm actually kind of surprised there's not a ton of Judge in here, because that guy's having a crazy good year, and most people are not paying too much attention to it. Maybe just because he's kind of done that a lot. I do see some Acuñas kind of starting to appear in this, because he, you know, just came back from his injury, and I think people are going to get excited if he goes on a hot streak. So that's about it. One thing I did not see in here is Bobby Witt, and he's kind of a guy that that I think, is turning in another pretty solid season, man. Let's see if we can find. So this is his, basest of base rookies. I'll look at the raw prices for this. So they're kind of treading water, nothing too crazy, right at about $4, but I would think this is a pretty liquid card. At that $4 price point. But yeah, I think maybe he's probably slowed down. Actually, let's go look real quick at how Bobby Witt's doing so far. I feel like he started off real hot this year, but maybe he's cooled down. But he's a guy that I feel could be, an Acuna-like force in the hobby in years to come, particularly if the Royals, do well. So here's his 2025 stats. He's got a pretty nice batting average of 293, only 5 home runs, and an 837 OPS. I'm sort of suspecting he's maybe had a little bit of a slide in the last, couple weeks, but I could be misremembering that he, had a real strong start. All right, so with that, folks, let's dive right in here and see what we see out of this box, shall we? So right off the bat, I know there's a Witt rookie card because, that kind of caught my eye as I was looking at this box. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to pull that out. Adley Rutschman, I don't know how he's doing this year, but I was just looking at the AL East standings, where the Yankees play in. And the Orioles are absolute trash this year. They are dead last, which is kind of crazy because last year they were in first place for a lot of the season, if I recall correctly. And, it's not like they've had major changes to their roster. They have the same kind of core. Excuse me. Young guys. Maybe a handful of them are injured, but gosh, it seems like they have a never-ending supply of minor league talent coming out of that organization. So I can't imagine much has changed with them, but they're just not winning games this year. Von Grissom, where are you now, man? I remember when I opened 2023 Topps Series 1, I pulled 2 gold rookie cards of this guy in a single jumbo box, and those were I think $80 or $90 a pop at the time, and they quickly went down to $25 or something, and I still have both of them. So don't copy me. Shea Langoliers, Tristan Cassis, Jeter Downs. I don't know how these Red Sox guys are doing. Miguel Vargas. Now, is he playing for the Dodgers at this point? I don't know. Dodgers fans would tell me. Riley Green. I wonder how he's doing this year because the Detroit Tigers are having one heck of a season. They're atop the AL Central, which is not saying much because it's a pretty weak division, but they're actually doing very well in terms of their win-loss record, having one of the best starts I think they've ever had in the last 10 years. So interesting to see how well they do kind of closer to the end of the season. Shea Langoliers, Travis Swaggerty. I remember when he came out. This is a 2023 Topps rookie. He was one of the bigger names in that rookie class, but I don't know that he's done much since then. Kyle Stowers, J.J. Bleday, Nolan Gorman. It's funny, this is like a who's who of the kind of top rookie crops from about 20, or sort of prospect crops from 2018 to 2022 or so. All of whom were, big dollar cards when they were, Bowman Chrome autos, but now I think that fizzled. So here's a Brett Beatty. I'll probably pull him out to maybe see if he could be liking the repetition of the 2023 tops here. Too much of the same thing. I wonder how Spencer Torkelson is doing too, because he's had kind of moments of brilliance in the last couple of seasons. And when he came up, I mean, this guy in the minor leagues was just raking. And he just, in college, he was like pretty much the best college player when he played. So there's always high hopes for him, and with a team that's now, you know, in a commanding first place lead in their division, I do wonder how he is doing and how some of the other Tigers prospects that have come up over the years are faring. So maybe we'll go take a look at that. Gabriel Moreno, Jordan Groshans. I think this guy's like out of baseball. He came up with the Blue Jays. I have some really nice PSA 10 rookie autos that are like sort of first Bowman, except they're Bowman's best cards of him that I just absolutely regret holding on to more than 5 seconds. I still have them, and they're just worth like negative money. I have to pay someone to take them at this point. A lot of 2023 stuff. I remember, so Max Meyer is very familiar to me because he is a Minnesota native, and he played for the Golden Gophers, where I went to college in Minneapolis. And he was like a first-round draft pick, and went pretty high in the first round too. I think he was like top 3 or 4. But then I think he did Tommy John like a couple of years ago, and I don't know what he's done since then. If he's come back in stride or has struggled since coming back, or for all I know, he's still rehabbing. Josh Smith. So there's an older rookie here. This is from 2018, Austin Meadows. Finally, we have a little variety here. Yermin Mercedes. I have to say, there's not a lot of guys I feel like that I'm particularly excited about likely to be in this box. My baseball cards are getting kind of dated in terms of prospects because I just have not opened a lot of Bowman products in the last like few years, 3-4 years. So I don't have a lot of the products that would have some of the guys that are popping off at this point. There's Jack Flaherty from 2018. So, you'll see a lot of 2023, a lot of 2021 stuff, and, just not a lot of guys that have broken out in a serious way from those years, either, with the Bowman stuff covering minor leagues or from the big league products from those years. 2022, you do have Bobby Witt Jr., rookie, and you have Julio Rodriguez, who is kind of slowly becoming a, has-been. Unfortunately, he was, super, super exciting player when he came up, and for the first couple of years in the bigs, but just not been able to recapture the dominance that he displayed for those couple of years. So yeah, slowly but surely, all these cards are going to be, becoming worthless, and I feel like that's the story with a lot of the baseball cards I've opened in the past, whatever, 7, 8, 9 years. I tend to just kind of sit on them a lot, and that is not a good move, because like 99%, this freaking guy, 99% of baseball prospects turn into trash, and oftentimes there's a lot of excitement about them when they're just kind of getting their first Bowman cards, first Bowman autos and stuff. And so there's a lot of value there in the market, prices that kind of hope and optimism very strongly. So, if you sell baseball rookie autos or prospect autos right when you get them, I feel like there's a 99% chance that will be the best time to sell them. Now, I am an idiot, so I do not sell stuff quickly. Mostly just because it's a lot of work, to take photos and submit, do eBay listings and then, fulfill the orders and stuff like that. So I just kind of don't do it, and I just put cards in boxes, and they slowly but surely become worthless, and I have a lot of cards that meet that description. Some really old stuff here. This is from 2014, Bowman. Yeah, once upon a time I sold little like 10 card packs of rookies. I did the same thing for like stars. Like mega stars, like Acuna, Soto, Judge, blah blah blah. And though I actually sold all those, I sold out of all those, so I should probably do that again. It was a good way to get rid of a lot of, cards that otherwise would probably sit around until they're worthless. So if anybody's hankering to buy something like that, you let me know and I'll put together some packs for y'all, which is a little bit less demanding. I'm hoping to put my kids to work here this summer on some sports card related activities, selling, prepping stuff to sell. I think Ellie De La Cruz, no relation, I don't think anyways, to Brian De La Cruz. I think Ellie De La Cruz is having a pretty good year this year too, so if I saw any rookies of him, I'd probably pull those out, but so far just not seeing a whole lot here of much interest. Max Meyer. Cedric Mullins is like another, he's like just perennially, criminally underappreciated, I think, by the hobby. When the guy puts up like 30 plus home runs a year, every single year. It is always among like the leaders in OPS. Colton Cowser, Cedane Rafaela. So another guy I would probably pull would be like Jason Dominguez cards. There it is. Juan Soto with the Yankees. Dominguez, has been a full-time player for the Yankees this year. He was once upon a time their top prospect. A big international signing from several years ago. I wonder how James Wood is doing. He was the top prospect in his class. Dylan Cruz, another guy who was top guy in his class. Heston Kierstad, I feel like I might have seen something about him doing well this year, but could be hallucinating. I wonder how Marco Luciano is doing. He was a top guy from that 2019 Bowman class. I don't know, I might have to fast roll these. Nick Senzel was a top guy. I mean, so many of these guys were once upon a time big names. But baseball happens. Nico Horner, another guy that was a top guy. There's Nestor Cortez, former Yankee great. Garrett Whitlock did really well for the Red Sox after he was picked up by them from the Yankees minor league system. I don't know how he's fared since that time, but 1 or 2 good years is plenty of value to provide to that team. This is a bunch of 2019 Topps Pro Debut. I always was a big fan of the Pro Debut stuff, but not a lot box. And I'll probably go another like 5 minutes or so. See where we land in this thing, but I don't know, for a future video I might go looking for max Freed cards. I'm pretty positive I have some half decent ones that probably, would be good to pull out and maybe sell while the iron is hot. Marcelo Meyer just made his rookie or his debut, I think, with the Sox. Saw some news coverage on that. This is all 2022 stuff. These cornerstone, is that what this is called? I think so. Capstone. I always call it cornerstone. Just a different product. I still have a fair amount of this sealed up. I bought, I think, a case of it. Another Marcelo. If he gets off to a hot start, those cards might be worth pulling out. Now we're looking in this 2022 update for some. I really like these 87. Throwback cards from the 2022 stuff. I just think 87 is such a classic design. I feel like it would be really cool to have a Bobby Witt or two from that 87 throwback stuff in the 2022 Topps flagship products. You remember when he went on a little tear a few years back? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Keston here, I think, is working at Costco now, as are most of these guys. Sedan Rafaela, I don't know how he's doing. If he's even with the big league team there in Boston or not. Bobby on an MJ Melendez card. I know in that aforementioned dollar box, I had a bunch of Bobby Witts when I started, but I'm pretty sure I sold most of them out of there. People were very wise to pull those out because, it seems for $1, it's a no-brainer. Doubtful they'd ever be less than $1 unless he just completely crapped out, but very good chance they'll be worth, $5, $6, $7. And this was I think it was last year that I made that dollar box, so. It's funny, I've yet to bring that dollar box with me to a show these days. I kind of just feel like it's not worth it. I mean, it's very heavy. And, maybe you sell, like, I don't know, 30 cards out of it at a show. So it's like $30. Just not really worth the effort. And it takes up a lot of space, as well, so. I don't know, it just doesn't seem to make sense. It's definitely something that I think attracts people, to come and spend time at the table. So that's probably the primary benefit of having a dollar box. But in this day and age of Pokemon cards that just, sell themselves, you don't really need to worry about stuff like that. So yeah, just not a lot. this will be the last stack that I go to. Oswaldo Cabrera unfortunately had a season-ending injury, it seems. Just about a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago. That was too bad. He was, having a perfectly good year and filling an important role of utility man for the Yankees, who always seem to have somebody injured. So that was very sad. A lot of Yankees fans, a lot of Yankee players were really bummed out by that. Understandably so. So yeah, I think we're gonna end on the same note. The rest of the box, which was, this was kind of a complete failure in terms of finding any hidden gems. Really, two cards I really pulled out, and I have, a fair bit. So this is what I went through, and then this is what's left. But honestly, not too excited about finishing that up based on results. But hey, I had to see what was in there, and that's what I did. So hope you guys enjoyed and found some relaxation. We'll catch you all next time. You have a great one.